And then
Oh,
vice
absolutely. I think I learned about companies when I was probably, let's say I kind of really got to understand it technically in my business law class when I was like 20. Um, and it probably took me another 5 or 10 years, and maybe even now, like I'm still learning the whole entrepreneurship game. But it definitely took me, say, 10 years to really understand, more than just, yeah, this is an entity and it's a legal alias for whatever, right? Um, and it took me a while. But my kids, like, they listen to my phone calls and they listen to me talking with people how to set up the companies and how to get legal advice and the questions to ask and how to take advantage of that and how to start applying the tax rules and how to start doing bookkeeping and all the rules of business that you have to apply together as an entrepreneur, especially as a first time entrepreneur,
yeah.
where you have to do your bookkeeping to make sure you look professional, where you have to have you set your goals. You have to use the business in a professional way so you don't look like a crazy hack when you're going for financing or funding or when you start growing your business. And it's so much more than they taught me in college about the business plan and all that kind of crap that ChatGPT just spits out
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yep. Agreed, Phil. Definitely. Yeah. So you learn a lot more from your actual experience than from the books and education, for sure.
Oh yeah, I'd say the stuff that I learned in class was totally crap compared to really doing it, to really seeing it in action.
Very different experience. Same here.
So it was your degree, and I got to ask because like I had a business and computer science degrees and stuff. My wife has an MBA. I did that with her, and it was kind of fun. But you were like straight into it, accounting and taxes, and you got your master's, right?
I got my MBA in finance. Yeah.
You're like my wife, right? Awesome.
I guess.
She got in finance and entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Phil, I guess we have similar upbringing, your wife and me.
Oh yeah, right. Both beautiful, wonderful ladies with amazing family values.
Thank
Love
you.
you guys so much. Of course, we just celebrated our 22nd anniversary.
Oh,
I should
congratulations.
thank you,
Very
thank you.
nice.
She said happy anniversary, and I'm like, really, what were you thinking for 22 years?
She probably said that I couldn't be happier that I married you.
Not like that, but I know that's what she meant.
Of course, of course.
We have a little bit of dark humor between each other, and in between the lovey lovey. But from that, like from your education side to your experience side, which is pretty awesome because you said like, okay, cool. How long were you actually doing taxes in the mechanical side of accounting before you got into
But
the?
not long, for roughly about 5 years before
That's
I
awesome.
stopped.
5 years you can learn a lot.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome, painful, and it felt like a lot longer, especially when I started, because I started with a big accounting for with Ernst and Young, and time there where you work 24/7, it felt like an eternity.
So this is basically you're in the army for five
Exactly,
years, and then you're like, I'm not going to reenlist.
exactly. You
I'm
you
going to
got the
join the
point.
SAS and enjoy
Yes,
life. So what's from the expectation you had from college? Because like I have a love hate relationship with college and universities. I
sure.
think it's good in a way, but I don't think you start at college. I generally think unless you're going to be an architect or something like that, you don't really start college. You get a little experience first, but that's a totally different factor. Based off what you learned in college, like how rough was it or how smooth was it going into the financial world and then going into the world of SaaS? Because these are big transitions.
These are big transitions. I think the the goal was always, at least for me, and I see for many people, is to find something that you love and enjoy doing. I think no matter where you go in any industry, in any field, um, the jobs can be easy and can be tough. But if you look into excel and grow in your career, if you look into to implement the best version of you,
Mm-hmm.
you will, number one, you will always be looking for challenges, but number two, in order to overcome these challenges, you need to find something that you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And Um, for me, it was a matter of luck. I ended up in the world of technology and I absolutely fell in love with it. Without that enjoyment, I don't think I would have been able to succeed, because even though it wasn't 24/7, we still had long days. We had releases on the weekends and we had to work long hours. But because I was enjoying so much what I was doing, and had an amazing manager and a great team to work with, it seemed like a smooth transition, and it seemed like a fun journey because of that. So finding your true passion is the key here. And I believe once you do that, then it becomes much, much easier to
Uh-huh.
continuously learn and to excel in what you do.
I think that's a big thing, right? There's this whole 10,000 hour concept, and it doesn't kind of naturally apply to this discussion except in the way that to get really good at something, you have to spend a lot of time in it.
Yep.
And to really get through life sometimes and to perform, you have to sacrifice a lot. When you're in a SaaS, when you're in an early business and entrepreneurial mindset, you're going to lose nights. There's going to be nights you can't sleep because either work or you have too much in your mind and you're too energized.
Yeah,
This
agreed.
is a blessing. To me, this is like, yeah, I'm in the right place. When you see
Yeah.
that and you're like not sleeping because of stress, but not sleeping because I have this idea, I got to get it down. I have this flow. I got to keep the flow going. And when the company and the job pays enough to make it so that you can support the family and to trade off some responsibilities, I imagine as a woman with kids, it's not an easy thing to do. Um, my wife gets angry when I do it, but she still understands and loves me despite all, all that.
I
So
hear
it's
you,
nice.
Phil. Yes, I think I was blessed by having great team members and people that were always encouraging me. And I had, many managers, but one of my bosses was truly always encouraging and supporting me, and she always believed in me. And I think because of her, I was able to succeed and excel and be my best and really show what I'm capable of. And the funny story is that so my longest career when I had a corporate job was with ADP. I was with them for 18 years, but I did took a little break in between. I left them and went to another company to try the startup world. But I never forget, as I'm going like 2.5 years into this new job, and I stayed in touch with my former boss. And as we were talking, um, all of a sudden, like in the middle of a conversation, she's like, "Have you ever thought of coming back to ADP?" I was taken aback and I said, "Yeah, sure. Why not? What do you have in mind?" Um, we, she didn't say anything. We hung up, but literally in an hour, I received a phone call from HR from ADP, not about the interview, even though they had to set up a formal interview,
Uh-huh.
but it was literally like, "You're coming back," and I did come back.
We're
It was
bringing you back. Here's the process. It's already done. We love you, and we
yes.
cannot wait to give you a big welcome back hug.
Yes, but basically, the point of the story is, if you're showing up, if you're a great team member, if your
Mhm.
work is valued, even after you leave, uh, stay in touch with people that matter, that are important to you. And you never know how it's going to turn up and what's going to show up next in your door. And also, one big thing is never burn the bridges, especially the
Mhm.
people that adore, respect, and love you and you enjoyed working with, because like I said, you just never know what's going to happen next.
That's awesome. I think I actually even heard something else in that conversation, and I'm curious if it's me imagining or not. Sometimes when, and I'm not going to say it, but tell me if this is your case. When you leave on good grounds and you have good role models and you contributed and you feel like it's time for you to move on and try something else, the people that you left behind still might become your mentors
Oh
in this
yeah,
process.
absolutely, 100%. As a matter of fact, I'm still in touch with that former boss of mine, even though she's older, she's retired. But because she contributed so much to my success and she was such a big supporter, I felt that it was more of my duty. I wanted to stay in touch with her.
Uh-huh.
So when she retired, it's not all about getting your next job or networking or anything else. It's about having the desire to stay in touch with people that help to elevate you to the next level, and now um, staying in touch and showing your gratitude to them. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And mentoring is a two-sided street. You both learn and receive value as you give it. So I'm a huge, huge advocate of mentoring and creating these relationships in business, right? Unless you're doing like a car wash and you just hate the people that work for you, right? I can't even imagine. I really can hard to imagine any business where you wouldn't want to mentor the people that are working for you. Because if you don't want to, just fire them, get them out of your life if they suck, right?
Agreed, agreed. And I believe that everything that comes in circles goes in circles. I'm also a big proponent of mentorships, and I now mentor a lot of students. And one of my alma maters, I went to Rutgers for my MBA. And it gives me so much joy to see the kids as we go through this career development lessons, to see them understand the points that I'm bringing across and to see them get the jobs and the internships that they desire. So that whole journey, starting from scratch and then ending up with that, invitation letter in their hands, it just feels incredibly, um, gives me a great feeling of satisfaction, and I'm always proud of moments like that.
That's beautiful, and I think God made us this way. So we always get more than we give in life. When you're teaching the younger generation or even your peers, you always get more than you give. The and which is like I have like from your book like three things that I think like maybe could be improved. Right? You already resolved one of them by saying the when I can say like, and everybody can say this for every book, it doesn't quite teach you everything, right? But you have your real estate club. You're available for extra calls. And if you did try to teach somebody everything, the book would be like 3,000 hours long and nobody'd be able to understand it.
Yes, I don't think anyone can repeat writing War and Peace. That was beyond human nature. I was one of the sufferers in my elementary school because I lived in Soviet Union, so I had to read that book. And there were no cliff notes, mind you, at my time, so it was quite painful.
I read it in high school. I thought it was like a romantic tragedy in a way.
It was, but reading the whole thing, like I was never a fan of reading books of that size, and it was quite an experience, but especially when you're forced in school to do it.
Yeah, if you have to do it, it's
It's much tougher.
the world is going to go in such a different way of education. I think in the next 5 years is going to be amazing. Can you imagine? I mean, right now, like if you have an AI teacher, like if you give your kids ChatGPT and you're supervising it, and you'd have to supervise it still, it's going to build a profile on your kid. Sorry, but it's going to build a profile on your kid, but with the intent to educate in a certain way. It'll be able to recommend probably the best books for teaching it whatever value set you want to give your kid for whatever that is. You can direct it, you can, and then for each book it can then recommend the next one based off the dialogue that's back and forth on the essays you learn to write, everything. It's not going to be like you should read War and Punishment because everybody has to. It's going to be you should read it because I was seeing this and I think you might be interested in this part of the story. Yeah, this part of the story is to the end of the book, but it's kind of along your lines, and here's some teasers to get you there.
Yeah, and I believe even before the world of AI, some of the virtual bookstores have already been doing that, where when you buy one book, they start recommending you books of a similar nature, or they send recommendations based on what other readers who bought this particular book
Yeah.
consider, which I think has been amazing. It helped me a lot in my book selections. And going back to your earlier question about my book, no, I was absolutely not trying to teach the readers everything, but I wanted to give them the kickstart, so to speak, the foundation. This is where you start when you want to learn how to run fast, for example. But my book is, this is where you start if you want to learn how to invest outside of Wall Street, which is on Main Street. And for those folks that are not familiar with the world of Main Street investing, it essentially entails investing outside of the stock market. So if you want to invest in commodities, real estate, gold, oil, or anything else, outside of buying a stock or ETF or a fund, that's where my book comes in, and it gives you a guidance as to where you can find these places and how to read the documents about such investments. Is it going to teach you everything? 100% no, but it'll give you the kickstart to
Hmm.
learn how to start running, how to start investing. It'll give you ideas, like Phil said. Oh, this is what I can do. And that's where I can get the money to invest it. So it doesn't always have to be cash, it could be other sources of funding. So that's where my book comes in and gives you the idea about it.